This is LaserBolt, and welcome to today's video, guys. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that has been in the back of my mind for quite a long time. And I think after coming into almost 2 to 3 months playing the game, I think it's a topic that needs to be addressed. And I see the more and often the community actually addressing it. And the question that is, and the topic we're going to be talking about is the end game too easy? And should the end game be made harder? So this sounds like something you guys are definitely interested. A like would be greatly appreciated. And let's talk about the end game. So like I said it earlier today, earlier in the video, I've been playing the games at launch. I played it in the beta. And yes, there is a big loot pool where you have to be kind of farming and grinding, trying to get the weapons. That's a different topic. Today, we kind of want to talk about how easy is the end game and should the end game be very difficult? So when we talk about end game, what exactly is end game? End game means that after you finish the campaign, you start up the expeditions, and of course, the last goal being the Eye of the Storm. Now, like I said, I played this game multiple times, and I know a lot of you guys might be like, what do you mean the end game is too easy? I'm still having a hard time completing everything. This is primarily coming from an opinion after having all your gear ready to go, after collecting all the legendaries you want, making your build the proper way you want it to. How easy does the game actually become after all of this has been accomplished? Or after you kind of have something sort of set up, where you just maybe just missing one particular piece, is the game too relatively easily? My opinion when it comes to the game is I feel that the game currently right now, the way it is, I think that the game is a little bit too easy in order to be able to do certain stuff. For example, if I play solo, I find the game being super easy. Sometimes, I play the game so much now that I could probably just sit here without even paying too much attention to the game and just pass the level without difficulty and always get that, that gold clear. Now, when I do with the Eye of the Storm becomes a little bit more challenging, especially if I'm carrying more than one person. If it's two people, it is a little bit more challenging because what tends to happen is, the persons or the people I'm helping will tend to die at the last boss fight, and I kind of have to do the boss fight by myself. But apart from that, I think if you run with a decent amount of people who have a decent build, I wouldn't say like a super duper powerful build, but like a decent build where they're able to do damage, it's actually not that difficult to accomplish. Now, do I feel that the game needs to be up a little bit higher to more difficult? Or do I think that a game needs to be lowered? I want to actually get your opinion on that, because I know my probably point of view is probably going to be different than your point of view. But I feel like if we come together as a community, kind of figure out and get a point of view of how easy or how difficult the game is, we can kind of get that sentiment sent out to the developers so they can either increase the difficulty level or decrease the difficulty level. I personally feel that the difficulty level on this game needs to be increased. Does it need to be increased exponentially where it's like super duper difficult, like kind of like, Dark Souls? No. I think the game does need a little bit of tweak when it comes to the difficulty level, due to the fact that I like a challenge. Like when I play a game, I do enjoy kind of just stomping on people, or like on the enemies. It's cool. But then it gets to a point where I feel like the game, I need to have that edge of where I need to feel that I'm being challenged to keep myself not only motivated, but to keep me, kind of focused on the actual gameplay. So a quick example I want to give you. So I come from a background of playing Destiny. Now, during Destiny times, the raids at the first start of the raid, and I'm pretty sure just like with every other game, it's a very difficult thing to do because you're kind of new to the scenario. You've never done the raid. And we had the Vault of Glass. So for those of you who know Destiny, we'll be able to, pretty much get a better grasp of what I'm talking about. So we had the Vault of Glass, which was the very first raid. Even after playing the raid multiple times and after becoming an expert at that raid, it was still a little bit challenging depending on how many people you were carrying, right? I mean, if you were playing with friends that knew exactly the whole raid mechanics, it's still pretty easy, but you still would probably mess up sometimes, maybe at the oracles, or maybe you wouldn't be able to get the gatekeeper to actually stay put and teleport multiple times, and because of simple mistakes you would make, and you would still make these mistakes, which would still make it a little bit more difficult. Now, when the second raid came out, which is Crota's raid, this particular raid was extremely, extremely easy. I mean, you could theoretically pass this raid like people would call it a strike. So this is kind of what I'm kind of referencing to exactly where I feel the game is at right now. The game feels, I wouldn't say very easy, but it's not that challenging once you get everything completed. And I think the game needs to be tweaked a little bit to where it's kind of very similar to that Vault of Glass concept, where yeah, it's easy, but if you mess up, you can still make a big mistake. I think with a few changes, these could actually be accomplished either by lowering the count of time it actually takes to complete a goal clear. I think that would give it a little bit more of a challenging, because right now, if you're playing endgame and you have proper builds, you're pretty much flying through the expeditions and you're pretty much clearing the majority of these expeditions with like 2 to 3 minutes left in the timer. If you're playing it with a full stack team, or if you're playing by yourself and your build's properly set up, you're not challenged by hitting those timers. Those timers are actually a little bit over the limit of actually what they are. I think a nice sweet spot is definitely making everything kind of similar to Boomtown, which is the reason why people don't run Boomtown. The reason why people don't run Boomtown is because they have a very hard time actually hitting that goal clear. Not everybody, but the majority of people have a hard time because either they don't have the right build or they just don't know how to play the actual map. I think if they were to bring out every expedition to this particular threshold where it has a targeted timer where it's easily accomplished as long as you know the map and you know your skill rotation, and if they were to actually make every other expedition this way, I think it would give us that nice little challenge where the game is a little bit difficult, but not over difficult. In addition to that, I think the Eye of the Storm does need to get a couple changes. They need to make it more difficult. I think the difficulty level on this one, I'm kind of like ipping up on this one, because I feel like if they were to make it more difficult, what could actually be done to make it more difficult? The only thing I could think of is making sure that all the 3 pillars are activated at the same time. I think that would be extremely difficult, because that means you would have to have 3 people that know what they're doing. But I feel like if they were to actually do that, a nice reward would be actually either a emote, or or having a special banner, or giving you a special weapon. If you complete sort of an achievement of having 3 people at the pillar at the same time and still completing it under the timer that you're supposed to complete it. So overall, in general, guys, I kind of wanted to bring this to your attention. Kind of wanted to have a little conversation about the end game. Should it be harder? Should it be easier? Please let me know in the comment section down below, because I feel like it needs to be harder. I feel like we need to be a little bit more engaged in the game, and we need to find a little bit more of a challenge when it comes to playing the end game. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget, guys, if you are enjoying our Outriders coverage, do me a huge favor, guys. Drop a comment, drop a like, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so you guys won't miss when our videos go live. Remember, we stream every single day live on here on YouTube, so you don't have to go very far. Now, one thing that we have a problem with, YouTube doesn't always send out those notifications, so make sure you guys head on over to our Discord server, so that way you guys know exactly when we go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.